Hey, what's up guys, Sawyer here from TechieGrad. So we were just able to get the Moto Z series and the Moto Mods in our hands, and because these phones are actually really different from each other, I'm going to do a separate review for each of the phones and then one video all together with the Moto Mods included. So today we're going to be taking a look at the first of this series, which is the Moto Z, and it's the thinnest phone I've ever used. The Moto Z has your expected top-of-the-line specifications with a 5.5-inch QHD display, a Snapdragon 820 chip, 4GB of RAM, and a USB Type-C port. You won't have any issues with stuttering, as Motorola keeps the software pretty clean on this, although there is some Verizon bloatware that comes on the Droid versions. In daily performance, the phone doesn't even get warm, and it was generally pleasant to use. The only time I had the device get somewhat warm was when I had the phone plugged into the turbocharger and I was using the device at the same time. Speaking of the turbocharging, I really like the turbocharging on Motorola phones. It's really fast and really reliable. Another thing that I do like is the always-on display. While it is nice on phones like on the Galaxy Note 7 or S7 to have it truly always on, Motorola systems just feel more elegant. Waving your hand over the display shows the time and notifications that you can interact with. Also, although the fingerprint scanner is a bit quirky in that it also turns off the display, which personally I wasn't a fan of, it is a very fast fingerprint scanner and it only barely requires you to tap your thumb. The design of the Moto Z is something that has grown on me, with the metal and glass feel, plus just the look with that ultra-thin design is a fun thing to have. Like seriously, this thing is 5.2 millimeters thin. That's insane to see on a smartphone. But onto the bad. Because the Moto Z is so thin, the battery life is honestly just bad. That thickness or lack thereof leads to a minuscule battery size for an Android phone, just 2600 mAh. And while you can always just throw on a battery pack, we're just looking at the phone itself right now. And alone, I wasn't even able to get through a full day. Aside from the battery life on this phone, there is one other thing that I'm not a huge fan of, and while Apple might call it courage, I don't really agree. The Moto Z doesn't have a headphone jack. The lack of the headphone jack is an omission that makes this phone kind of annoying to use it sometimes, as it does require the USB-C to headphone jack dongle that's included in the box. Though I don't even know if a headphone jack would fit on this phone because it's so thin in the first place. Another side note of something that I don't really like, but won't really bother everyone, is that the bottom bezel has kind of like a chin on it, so it's a lot smaller than it is on the top, and this just kind of makes it unequal, and I'm not a huge fan of that look. If the phone did have that chin, it would be forgivable if it had, stereo speakers or something like that. But honestly, the speakers on this phone aren't all that good. But I don't really like it, I'll be honest. What are you gonna do about it? This Apple Care, oh man, I wonder, charging you $100 for a warranty that isn't fair. Yeah, they call that Apple Care, can you realize it's a new number? Looks like Samsung said. One thing that is decidedly average about the Moto Z is its camera. While it certainly wasn't good, I did appreciate its inclusion of optical image stabilization, and the double twist gesture to open the camera app is something that I miss on other phones. However, in low light situations, the shots that I took were extremely grainy and never really came out well. Sure, given the right conditions, this camera can take some good shots, but in everyday usage, it didn't stand out from the crowd. Like I said, something that I wasn't a huge fan of on this phone was the front-facing speaker. While it is front-firing, it was disappointing that there wasn't two, and the one speaker, while loud, was easily blocked by a thumb. The Moto Z is a $649 phone that, standing without its mods, is unspectacular. If you have no intention of entering into the Moto Mods ecosystem, this phone isn't something that you should be directly considering. Overall though, if you're looking for a phone that has good performance all around, and are willing to shell out some extra money to become a part of the Moto Mods ecosystem, I would highly suggest this phone. So that's going to conclude our review of the Moto Z. Like I said, in the future we are going to have reviews of the other phones of the Moto Z series as well as the Moto Mods, so be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can see those when they come out. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.